Hi, Skylar.
Hello.
Hi. Alright, so we've heard you're saying you are a goth.
Yeah.
I'd like to introduce you to Poser Patrol.
Hi, Poseurs.
Hi,
Hello,
Skylar.
Hello.
Alright, so what are your favorite goth bands, buddy?
Blood on the Dance Floor, Korn, Five Finger Death Punch, Escape the Fate, stuff like that.
Alright, so... well, you see, the problem with our friend Skylar here is that he's stupid. None of the bands, they're not goth. They are the furthest thing from it. However, I've heard a lot of people say that these bands are goth. Follow us as we do our first Poser Patrol vlog. So, my friend, as far as goth, what makes a goth a goth?
The clothing, the look, the way they talk, and act.
Way they talk. Okay. If you've noticed, we've tied his arms so he can't self-harm.
Can't play violin with your wrist and blades for long.
Now, you see... no. What makes a goth a goth? Well, let me explain the culture for you. Goth was a musical subculture in the late 70s and early 80s that started with Joy Division. You've probably never heard of them. This, my friend, is Bauhaus.
Listen!
Take your head off, you little shit.
Now, notice the differences between the two of us. Look at me. Look at Skylar. Look at me.
Hi.
No one asked you to wave.
Look at Skylar. Fashion is a very big different thing. Of course, it's not all clothing. Do you know who Bauhaus is?
Who?
Joy Division. Christian Death.
Susie and the Banshees.
Are you a owl? Stand up. Notice his attire here.
Slipknot.
A little bit tight.
Yeah. Well, everything is. You want to handle that, Abattoir?
So, you're a goth. Mm-hmm. And Slipknot and Shinedown are goth bands.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sit down. Explain to me what makes them goth bands.
The way they sound.
The way they sound?
Yeah.
Do you hear this?
Mm-hmm.
Do you hear the deep voice?
Does this sound like this? Answer the question!
Yeah.
No, you don't know. You don't know. The problem is you don't know. You don't know jack shit of anything.
And what made you think it was okay to add the little hashtags to your pictures? To say goth,
Death rock. Goth.
trad goth.
Goth subculture. See, this is a common problem on Instagram. Some scene chick or emo guy, you nowadays won't even be able to tell the difference.
I cannot.
Can you even see?
See, here's how you tell
What do you guys
the
look
difference
like?
between an emo guy and an emo girl. This is a man.
Oh.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Well, not a man. This is a boy.
Who the hell did your makeup is my question. God, I've seen better jobs on a cheap Barbie doll than this.
You just...
Now, my friends, it's time to play the good cop. The music you're listening to, the things you enjoy. Bullet from a Valentine, Black Veil Brides. Are you aware they're taking advantage of every little emotional problem you have in high school? Think about it. Just think over the lyrics. For a
How
moment.
old are you, Skylar?
15.
Have you noticed most of the music videos take place in a high school? Have you noticed that most of them actually can you name for me one or two or three emo songs that have anything positive in them whatsoever? And if you say Rise and Shine by Blood on the Dance Floor, I'll punch you in the face.
Punch him with a knife.
I will. By the way, Blood on the Dance Floor is goth. Emo and goth are two very, very, very different things.
You're so far wrong on it.
Emo doesn't even really sound like this or look like this. My friend, when emo started, it sounded completely different. Have you ever heard of Rites of Spring? It's just you look them up when you get home. Sound like a good idea to you? Sounds like a good idea. But, in all honesty, we're not going to be mean to you. Come here. Listen, friend. We were harsh when we started Exposure Patrol. However, there's no way to reach out to kids like that. What you just saw is how most people do it. This is how it should be. Hey, buddy. Alright. You think you're goth.
Yeah.
What bands do you like that are goth?
I'm not sure.
Well, I'm gonna guess by this. Black Veil Brides?
Yeah.
This whole thing. Blood on the Dance Floor, Bullet for My Valentine, Slipknot, Manson. No. Marilyn Manson ripped off a lot of this guy, Roz Williams, Christian Death. Robert Smith was a goth. Andrew Eldritch, regardless of what Andrew Eldritch says. Now listen, I know the people watching this video going to say, Andrew Eldritch, Robert Smith, all of them said they weren't goth. You see, if Toby Keith said he wasn't country or Justin Bieber said he wasn't pop, it doesn't make a difference in what they are. It's what they are. And you can't change that. It's a personality. It's a subculture. And there's nothing wrong with admitting you're part of the subculture. Scene, if you're part of it, don't be afraid to say it. It's what you like, and nobody can change that. However, please, do not mislabel yourself. If you can't see the difference between the two here...
And this goes for girls, too.
Yeah, girls are just as bad. It's completely different. The hashtags on Instagram, I would really appreciate if those would stop. I don't want to see Death Rock on some chick with rainbow hair with a blood on the dance floor, motionless in white shirt.
Right here is Death Rock and Trad Goth.
Same goes for industrial noise, power electronics, any of that.
You have to be really, really gentle with some of these kids, because they're not going to think. They're going to think that you are just out to hurt them and that you just want to screw with them. They will not listen. If you're nice about it, that's how you have to start. You have to start off very kind, very gentle. You have to be like, well, alright, if you like Manson, I would really suggest looking into Typo Negative. They're an actual goth band, and they're really good.
If you're going to start listening to Christian Death, maybe you should try Lost Tribe.
If you like Lost Tribe, maybe you should try Theater of Hate. If you like more poppy stuff, like Never Shout Never.
Try Oingo Boingo.
Oingo Boingo, The Cure, Susie and the
If you're
Banshees.
into William Control and you want to know industrial, try Skinny Puppy, try Frontline Assembly, try anything else.
Now, as far as the metal argument, nu metal has had a really, really bad reputation of calling itself just straight metal, death metal, black metal. The same thing goes for metalcore, like Motionless in White. They're not metal. My Chemical Romance, Korn, none of those. Metal.
Wait, what?
Yeah, people think they're metal. They're new metal or metalcore, deathcore. It's not metal. If you want metal, you...
Also, please don't ever call My Chemical Romance punk. My dears, that is not how it works.
Punk is Dead Kennedys, Crass, Circle Jerks.
Crass, Sex Pistols, The Ramones, Dead Kennedys, Suicidal Tendencies.
Blink-182, Green Day have nothing to do with punk.
God.
The title pop punk is an oxymoron, and Avatar can explain why.
Don't say pop rock's a thing.
Well, punk is anti-establishment, anti-corporation, anti-mainstream, anti-everything that pop music stands for is. Well, they don't stand for anything, they just are.
Yeah.
But everything that pop music is what punk was trying to get away from. So it's hard to be anti-anything when you're right in the middle of... Pop stands for popular culture. So when punk is an escape from that, you can't mix something with an escape from
I
whatever.
mean, the closest you'll get is the Clash and the Ramones, which were still against that sort of thing. They weren't pop punk. They were just positive punk.
Well, that's what they called Christian Death when it came out.
Yeah,
It was positive punk or post-punk.
You see, you cannot mix these genres. There's no such thing as emo and goth, and I'll tell you why. The emo culture, as it originally was, rest its soul, and hopefully it'll come back along with goth and metal and everything else that's coming back, like punk. But the original emo culture is not like the 2007 AFI Love Like Winter emo kids. That's scene. And that's Jeffree Star and Blood on the Dance Floor's fault.
If you want to hear where it started, look up bands like Moss Icon, look up bands like Rites of Spring, maybe even Envy and Early Thursday. Just look up the roots of it.
So, the difference between emo and goth. First off, be sure you know what you're talking about with emo, because early emo had a really big punk influence. It sounds nothing like that. Whiny voice and loud screaming. It's not like that. It's nothing like that.
Sadly, it's now turning into Marilyn Manson.
Motionless in White's new tracks are very Manson-esque. I mean, if you go ahead and look up their new stuff, there's some video with like dolls and baby dolls and whatnot. It's totally Manson.
It's got the Rob Zombie samples.
Also, Rob Zombie's an example of not goth either.
Yeah. Anything that sounds that like that screaming and the crazy Slipknotness and all that. Goth is not meant to be scary. It's not meant to like scare the crap out of your grandma.
It's also not metal in any way.
No.
Goth is not. It's rock, but it's not metal.
Rock and metal are two different things. And for those of you who are like, well, genres are just made up, or the only genres that exist are pop rock and electronic and jazz and classical, you can suck it, because I'm tired of hearing that. Look up genres.
If you have to, you can just look at Wikipedia. It'd be so much easier.
Wikipedia's articles, and I know you're going to say, oh, Wikipedia's dumb source. You learned that in school. Wikipedia is really well managed nowadays. Like, you can't make one edit that's incorrect, and if you want to make an edit, you have to add a reason why, or else they can immediately undo it.
At least have facts backing up it, too. I mean, if you're going to start a statement, back up your shit. That's the most important part. Also, the people who know.
And we're not trying to scare the crap out of you or be mean. We might come across like that, but that's because this is something we're very passionate about and we've been doing for a while. I mean, Corey's 26 years old.
I'm 26 years old.
Black Sheep Servitude, Noise, Skinny Puppy, Eister Zinde, Industrial.
Yeah, also, there are people that are calling bands like Wumpscut and Combi Christ power electronics and noise. As far as I'm concerned on that, I'm not going to be nice. You can go f*** yourself.
You are destroying entire cultures that have worked their butts off to get what they are.
Heresy.
I've been quiet about this for a while. Not anymore. I used to work for Heresy. If you watch the old videos, you'll see the advertisement that I did all the time. Come to Heresy, great goth place, good night, good fun, blah blah blah, bullcrap. I worked for Mike. That's why I did it. I'm done. I got fired for standing up to Mike when he was trying to tell off some kids and say Bauhaus isn't goth, but Motionless in White and Marilyn Manson are, and goth doesn't even have genres. Then he'll say, oh, I never advertised Heresy as a goth club. Really? Go to heresygothclub.com. Go look at their flyers for tribute to 80s Goth Night. She went to the 80s Goth Night.
I went dressed as Star. No one really got the idea.
How old are you, Sienna?
I'm 17 years old.
How'd you get in?
With a friend that was overaged and let me in eventually. Mike let me in because he thought I looked cool enough for it and attractive.
Which brings us to the next point.
The fetish room is a really fun place if you're into that sort of thing.
Oh, great.
Which none of us really are for public use. Look, if you're into fetish, okay, that's your thing. But please, keep it out of my clubs. I don't want to have to walk in and see some girl getting spanked. So, if you're going to tell me that I'm the one who ruined the only goth event in Bakersfield, back up your crap, because, I'm sorry, but kids running around dressed as Slipknot, not very goth. Manson playing, not very goth. Fetish, not very goth.
17-year-olds getting spanked by 40-year-old men?
And who was that 40-year-old man?
I believe that was Mike Fowler.
And who is Mike Fowler?
Oh, Mike Fowler's the club owner.
On top of that, 30-year-olds offering to buy 17-year-old drinks.
And successfully doing so. Do you know how many times I got drunk at Heresy? Sorry, Mom and Dad. Do you know how many times I got drunk at Heresy? You know who walked by? Oh, is that your drink? Mike?
How old are you, David?
I am about to turn 20.
What country are we in?
We are in America.
What's the legal drinking age?
21.
Oh my god.
Oh my!
I told him, I'm trying to make changes to the club that's going to positively affect. I'm going to try to fix it. I'm going to try to get rid of all the underage drinking. I'm going to I was trying to get rid of all the crap that was going on there that was illegal. You DJs who disagree with me, why don't you go ahead and ask her? I was bought drinks by many people. I know underage people that bought drinks. You know how they solved the underage drinking problem? Solved? They wrote in Crayola marker an X on your hand that could easily just... And it's gone. Underage people bought me drinks when I was broke. Do I plan on drinking on future goth clubs? Am I 21? No, same answer. However, at Heresy I knew I could get away with it. And I didn't really have much respect for the club anymore.
Why? Mostly because of the fact that it was not even heavily protected. And most of it,
There was no security except
no
for...
security whatsoever, and the bartenders would just obviously give it to the
What about
people.
all those cybergoth predators with their laser guns?
Okay, there was one real security member. His name is Adrian. When you have one security team member who's in charge of an entire venue, and he's wanting to have a good night too. He's wanting to dance. He's wanting some fun. He gets no breaks, but he's allowed to basically be on a break the entire time. His contract states, I cannot say anything bad about Mike. I cannot say anything bad about Heresy. I cannot contradict Mike. I cannot stand up to Mike, or else I'm fired.
I proved him wrong on several occasions, and I got chewed out. And I got... The situation. Mike's telling kids, here's this band. They're black industrial, and they're playing here. I was like...
Well, black industrial is.
This is not black metal or industrial of any sort. This is some synthy bullshit, and all I did was say, this is wrong, and here's what it actually sounds like. So Mike's like, you, sir, get to come to Heresy, and y'all make you a VIP, and you have to come, and you have to announce that, this is your favorite gothic black industrial band at Heresy, and Heresy's the best goth club in the world, and I told him to go because that's not happening.
We're getting really sick of it. So, Heresy is on hiatus. Why?
Because of us.
Did we intimidate him? Apparently. How did we intimidate him? We told people what was going on, and people asked Mike what was going on. He told them.
Deliberately went up to me at my workplace and asked me to tell Loki here to stop. And I plainly just said, I don't know. I'm not the one who goes to Walmart bins and looks up pop rock and says it's an actual genre.
Also, real quick, this is Kevin. His name's not Skylar. Kevin's cool as
he's
shit.
not... I did the makeup on him. We did his hair. He doesn't really
I
look
can
like
easily
this.
fix
He
this.
volunteered to help us out because
I guess
he's
right.
tired of seeing stupidity everywhere, too.
Yeah.
Right now, he's involved in the emo culture. He's not the actual emo culture.
Early 90s emo, and that's not bad.
And we don't have anything against you. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it. But I'm just going to warn you, pay attention to the lyrics. That
Alright,
sinking
well-
feeling you get in your chest.
Don't
Hey,
continue to cut
If you're
yourself.
an emo kid, like Kevin, when we met him, he said he was an emo kid. What are you into? I'm into emo bands. What do you call it? I call them emo bands. That's fine. When you're an emo kid, and you're into emo bands, and you say that you're goth, you're metal, you're industrial, and that we don't know anything about it,
Black metal,
because
death
obviously
metal.
we don't know anything about it, that's when we have a problem.
Yeah.
Be who you are.
You see
Don't
what I
be us
represented
if
on
you're
his
not
face? I
us.
represented just about every confusable band. You got the Manson Eye, you got the Black Veil Brides thing going on. There's this really bad habit some of you kids have. And listen to me. If you're harming yourself, if you have thoughts of suicide, call a suicide hotline.
Go
Don't
see-
use it for attention.
My recommendation is, if you guys see a therapist, do not use a therapist. Talk to your parents about a psychotherapist. Therapists will just give you medication that makes the situation twice as worse than it already is. A psychotherapist will tell you what's deliberately wrong with you.
What's your opinion, Kevin, on all the kids who say they're part of your culture, but they use it as a self-harm, attention-getting thing?
Attention givers are, attention seekers, people who don't know what they're talking about, who are just ignorant.
And all the kids that like your stuff but call it goth and say they're goth, emo, industrial, punk, metal.
Those people, I am pissed off at.
Yeah.
I came into the emo culture. I didn't know shit about it. I researched it a little, talked to other people. I found out, and now I know what it is. And
It's not blood on the dance floor.
yeah,
It's not.
It's not. That's all scene kids, and I don't really like scene kids.
Yeah.
Because they're assholes.
They can be. They can be the biggest. I mean,
Trust me, I work as a teacher's aide at my school. A girl deliberately decides to start cutting herself in class. I go up to her and ask her why is she doing this in a class project. During class, exactly. And showing her friend why her friend is over here really disturbed at this girl who's sitting here slicing her own flesh open with, I think it was an eyeliner sharpener. On top of that, if you are brave enough to, I'm going to say this because this is my way of scaring kids, and I don't sugarcoat anything. If you were brave enough to cut yourself in school, what's stopping you from killing yourself?
exactly. Don't kill yourself.
Well-
Don't cut yourself. Don't commit suicide. Don't threaten it as an attention thing.
Let's let Kevin explain at school how people gain popularity.
Oh, yeah. Last year, the emo... I was pretty much... Me and a few other kids were emo. Well, now this year, a bunch of little freshies all think it's so cool to cut each other and think it's so popular. It makes them seem cool. It's stupid, and real emos, dude, they don't cut each other in front of each other, and they don't show each other either.
If anybody,
Okay.
if you have a cutting problem, that's not part of emo
Well-
anyway. Like,
Loki's a goth. He doesn't do that. Goths don't do that. I'm a rivet head. I don't do that.
I mean, if you
I'm
have
into
that
black
problem,
metal. I'm into punk. I'm into all of this stuff. I'm into death rock. I don't cut myself. I've never cut myself. And I don't need to ice my wrist up to be cool enough to hang out with Kevin. Or to hang out with his friends or other people.
it's a problem. And if you actually have the problem and are not using it for attention, you need to seek psychotherapy. Because, honestly, I understand. I feel bad for you. And you know how to spot an attention seeker? Look at the kids who are hiding their wrists and not wanting anyone to look at it. Not, like, obviously hiding it, but, like, they're really secretive about it.
They wear sweaters all the time. They wear long pants constantly. And
bracelets.
Or bracelets to cover it up. But if they're just walking around like this and it's like 20 degrees and they have like a tank top and they're walking around like this all day with their arms out.
if you are the people who got rid of your cutting issue and are actually showing your scars, that's wonderful.
Yeah, that's fine. You're showing you're a survivor of something that's horrible.
You're showing something that's great. My close friend Mariana is, I don't really want to say, but like she does it because she's proud that she hasn't succumbed to a worst case scenario, basically.
You can end up dead whether you're doing it for attention or because it hurts. If it hurts that bad, I don't know what's going on at home. I don't know what your problems are. I don't know you. But please,
Contact one of us at least.
contact one of us. There's suicide hotlines. If you have to get out of your house, if you're being hit, if you're being abused, call the police. Do something.
Go to a family member's house if it's a friend, family.
Do not get stuck in that situation. Now, as far as the culture, emos and goths don't hate each other.
They just disagree.
No, well, I mean, not even disagree. Like, he understands goth culture perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But if you're the type of person that argues constantly when being confronted about...
We
what
give you
isn't-
sources, we cite things, we show you music, we show you proof, and you will say, as
Calling-
one of my goth memes, I don't care how many sources you cite or what you say. Slipknot will always be goth because I say so. That's ignorance. And I'm not being judgmental. I'm stating facts.
Or calling us elitists. I'm sorry, but we actually give a damn about our culture.
We have a page on Facebook called Poseur Patrol. Poseur Patrol. Why is it spelled that way? Regarding a subculture, look up the word. Regarding a subculture, that is what you use. It's not P-O-S-E-R. It's P-O-S-E-U-R. No, I'm not English, but the culture definitely is, and that's why...
And this is why we brought up the Heresy Club. We have a problem with misrepresentation.
A big one.
Just like, goths are totally fine with being goths.
I mean, how hard did we work?
I don't know why, not you, but I don't know why these emo kids have to be emo, industrial, metal, goth, punk. Just be you.
Be yourself, that's basically it.
And these kids who say, don't label yourself, just be yourself. Okay, look, it's not a label. It just... That's a really short way of saying what you like, what you're passionate about. I am a goth. By saying that, I mean I like Christian death and Bauhaus and darker things. And look, this is something that I've been getting really sick of seeing. Goth has nothing to do with Satanism or, like, all that, like, dark nonsense. Look, if that's your religion, if you're, like, a witch or a Wiccan or anything else like that,
That's cool.
why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about that?
Where do I start?
What religion are you, Corey?
Me? Oh, I'm Christian. Very much so. So is Necro over here.
This has been our camera lady for most of the video, by the way. Thank you. You mind taking the... You don't have to be any religion to be goth. It's not a religion. It's not like a religious...
And just because you're a certain religion doesn't exclude you from what you love outside of your religion.
Exactly. In fact, some very popular artists in our cultures are Christian. David Tibet from Current 93. Anyone?
At least unorthodox, but very
But, yeah. Well, he's very, very, very much so. Look, as far as heresy goes, our biggest problems were the illegal stuff. But we had minor problems, too. Cybergoth.
Okay. My problem is I'm tired of cybergoths saying that they're industrial and that they're into power electronics and they're into noise and they're into goth. And let's start with the history from the beginning.
All right. So basically, here's a short gist of the history. A punk band called Warsaw starts in the UK. Turns into Joy Division because of BBC. Manager says they're a goth band in contrast to the mainstream. They continue on. Their melancholy lyrics are very reminiscent of Poe. But listen, if you're one of those, I'm a Victorian goth and I only listen to Beethoven, and you're not, I'm sorry. It's a music-based subculture. You can be a dark romantic, which is a subculture, and that is what you are. That is your subculture.
Listen
And
to
if
Dead
you're-
Can Dance or something.
And if
Yeah.
you're a Victorian goth and you complain about you...
Listen to Dead Can Dance or something.
Yeah, it's a goth band, and you would really enjoy it. Don't shut yourself out because you're living in the past. And I'm a goth, and I'm saying this. Most of our music originated in the late 70s and early 80s. Thing is, still today, and I hear people all the time, well, goth music's dead. Angels of Liberty, Fangs on Fur, Christ versus Warhol. There are plenty of bands that are goth and death rock and Batcave and darkwave.
It's Tragic Black, All Gone Dead, Bloody Dead and Sexy. There's
Even Switchblade Symphony.
I mean, London After Midnight's still pretty new.
Yeah. Cybergoths. Go listen to The Merry Thoughts, and then go listen to...
Well, if they want to claim industrial, go listen to Skinny Puppy. Go listen to Front 242. Or if you really want to know industrial, listen to Cabaret Voltaire, Throbbing Gristle, Einstein and Nebuton, SPK, any of their originators. And notice how there is not all this boom, 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 boom bullshit.
Bite
It's,
me.
you know, we're pots and pans screaming and using power drills and using, like, let's bang on a fucking shopping cart for
and
drums.
rant
you know?
about crap. Look, another thing with a lot of these emo bands nowadays, the scene bands that claim to be emo, like I asked him during our little interaction, can you name me 5 really positive emo songs? Just 5. That are actually not emo, that are seen, like...
What was one of them? Middle fingers up, we don't give a
That was
now, some of them are
Suicide
really...
Silence.
Yeah, some of them are really, really cryptic and really, really intelligent. They're not dumb guys. Never Shout Never's song, What Is Love, is about how a kid is trapped in the middle of a divorce and there's no way to get out and everything's hopeless because his parents are leaving and he can't do crap.
My parents are divorced. I'm fine.
Black Veil Brides, In the End. Oh, that's a very, very smart way to do it. The whole thing is supposed to look militarized, like they're fighting a war or something. The song is very, very obviously about suicide.
If you're into the military thing, try Death in June.
Yeah. Now listen to this. Go listen to that song in the context of suicide. At first, it'll sound kind of positive. It's very much not. It is probably the most depressing song I've ever heard. And they won an award for it. A metal award? Really?